Okay, in last time we talk about the tissue till the plant. Okay, now in this session we're going to talk about the tissue in the animal tissue. First of all, when you talk about the tissue, what is actually tissue? Now we know that cell is a fundamental unit of life. Yes, are you agree with this? When you talk about the fundamental, that means they are structural, structural and functional. Okay, they are structural and functional, and that's why they are called fundamental unit of life. So what is the unit of life? It's a building block. If cell is not there, no tissue is going to there. So can I say that cell is a functional fundamental unit of life? Can I say that? Yes. Now, the moment I say that cell, I know that what is a tissue? Tissue is nothing but a group of cell. Tissue is what? Nothing but a group of cell performing a specific task, right? Example, respiratory tissue. All the respiratory system tissues are there into the performing a specific task. This point is clear, right? In plant tissue, we talk about the simple permanent and the complex permanent. In complex permanent are there xylem phloem. All xylem is mostly the dead one, right? And only the xylem parenchyma was live there. In case of phloem, it's a you bidirectional, correct? Bidirectional because food has to be transferred here and there. Okay, and we talk about only it's a living thing, all the living thing as compared to the xylem. So we covered up till there. Now we are focusing on the animal tissue. Now tell me one thing, in case of animal tissue, they do not have a cell wall. This point is clear. They do not have a cell wall. Why they do not have a cell wall? Because they are locomotile. They can not prepare their food by ourselves. They has to be depend on the other. So their cell is a such a way that they can easily transport the material. This is point clear. So we have talked about this. Now in animal tissue, we're going to talk about the each and every cell. So let's open the book and let's share it. Okay, in your book, you can see that there is a stomach diagram. Can you see that? A stomach there. Yes. What is the function of stomach? For a digestion of the food, right? So here, when we breathe, we can actually feel the movement of the chest. When we are breathe, what is going to happen? The movement of the breast will be there. Why? Because inside that lungs are there, right? For this, we have specialized cell called the muscle cell. The contraction and relaxation of this muscle result in the movement. Can I say that? How? What is the movement? The contraction. This is relaxation. The moment I do this, this is a contraction. What contracting? What relaxing? The muscle. Yes or no? What is muscle? The one who actually give the response. Yes or no? This is the relaxation. This is the contraction. If I were to hold the pain, what I'm doing? I'm doing the muscle contraction. If I want to release the pain, then what I have to do? I have to muscle relaxation will be there. So in animal, what is there? A muscle is there. In plant, muscle is not there. This point is very clear. Okay. Now, can you see the stomach diagram over there? Can you see that stomach? Okay. So what is actually inside the stomach? There are some cell lining are there, and then they have zoom out the things. The last part is what? Smooth muscle fibers. So why are the smooth muscle fiber? What is the function of stomach? What is the function of stomach? Digestion, right? Digestion. For digestion, stomach is a sac like structure. Bag like structure stomach क्या है? बैग लाइक स्ट्रक्चर है आपका, ठीक है, बैग लाइक स्ट्रक्चर है, यहाँ पे आपका फूड डाइजेस्ट होगा. नाउ टेल मी वन थिंग, व्हाट इज पेरिस्टाल्टिक मूवमेंट? आर यू अवेयर अबाउट दिस पेरिस्टाल्टिक मूवमेंट? ओके, आई विल टेल यू, डोंट वरी. पेरिस्टाल्टिक मूवमेंट. Okay, suppose this is your muscles and this is your food. This is your food. Okay, now when you eat, suppose I'm eating carbohydrate, protein, fats, I'm going to eat in from mouth only. From mouth it goes to the esophagus. So the bolus is whenever the food is mixed with the saliva, whenever the food is mixed with the saliva, it's called as a bolus. It's called as what? Bolus. So food with a bolus, food with a saliva, it's called a bolus. Now this food has to be go towards the stomach, then from the intestine to the large intestine. Yes or no? Yes. So who is responsible for that? Look at here. When I'm squeezing this, it will be moved from here to here. When I'm squeezing it, right? Then if I'm squeezing from here, if I'm contracting this muscle, then it move here. So this is called a peristaltic movement. The contraction, relaxation of muscle, which leads to the movement of the bolus, is called the peristaltic movement in a digestive tract. In what? A digestive tract. So what is the peristaltic movement? The contraction, you can write somewhere or you can just remember. The contraction and relaxation. The contraction and relaxation of muscle inside the GIT. What is GIT? GIT, gastrointestinal tract. GIT full form is what? Gastrointestinal tract. The contraction and relaxation of muscle in GIT leads to the forward movement of a bolus. Forward movement of a bolus is called a peristaltic movement. This point is clear? Okay, that's great. So we are talking about here stomach. Okay. So if I draw the structure of stomach like this, okay. So if I'm taking these cells out, you will get some cell structure. In your textbook, you can must see that, right? So that those are what cells? These are what cell? Smooth cell. What cell? Smooth cell. This point is clear. You can see the picture in your book, smooth cell. What is the function of that? Now we have to study the function of those things. So let's study. So can I see that you have, if I'm zooming it more, I'm getting muscle like this. And here a nucleus is over. Okay. So muscle fiber is there. What is the muscle fiber function? Locomotion. What is that locomotion? What is location? What is locomotion? If I'm moving from here to here, I'm locomotile, I'm moving, but plants are stationary. This point is clear. So when you talk about this is a muscle fiber. What is that? Muscle fiber. So what is the function of muscle fiber? Just I told you. What's that? Contraction and yes, relaxation. Contraction and relaxation. So if the question asks, what is the function of muscle? Then you have to ask, you have to write contraction and relaxation of muscle is the function, or we can say simply the contraction and relaxation. Okay. Why it's very important? Because every moment in the body, you can see that I'm talking, I'm walking. Every moment is related to the muscle contraction and relaxation. If you talk about the heart is contracting and relaxing, right? It's called as a pumping organ. So why it's called pumping organ? Because it's contraction, relaxation continuously going on. So can I say that the muscle fiber is the one who is responsible for contraction and relaxation and every body movement in our body? Yes or no? If muscle are not working, if you run very fast, what going to happen? Your muscles of the leg is not going to work that much efficiently as compared to earlier. So you will feel be tired, not moving your legs anywhere. Yes or no? So what is that? Your muscles are tired, not working properly. So now tell me one thing. You will be the sick one that time. So you're not moving properly. So do you know importance of muscle? For every moment we need a muscle. This point is very clear. Okay, let's move further. Now, let's talk about this one. During the breathing, during what? During the breathing, we inhale the oxygen. Where does this oxygen go? It absorb in the lungs and then it transported to all over the body cell through the blood. So can I talk blood is a connective tissue? Yes, blood is what? Connective tissue. The moment I talk blood is a connective tissue, that means what exactly? The blood is responsible for, see, when I'm breathing in, what going to happen? What going to happen when I'm breathing in? Yes, what going to happen when I'm breathing in? I'm taking most of the air inside the lungs. Only the oxygen is getting catched, and that oxygen is goes and dissolve into the blood. Now that blood is going into the heart, and from the heart it is going all over the body part. Similarly, blood when coming towards the heart is carrying the deoxygenated blood. That is carbon dioxide mostly is there, and that when you breathe in, actually we breathe, take the air, mostly the oxygen, and breathe out with the carbon dioxide. Yes. So can I say that during the breathing, we inhale the oxygen. Where does the oxygen go? Inside the blood, and blood is connect all the tissues. So who is the major connective tissue? Blood. Okay, the MCQs will be there. So why would cell need oxygen? Acha, ye question ka answer. What is the answer of this question? Why we need oxygen? For respiration. What is the respiration? If I'm moving something, I need energy. Okay, I need energy. Definitely, I need energy. So if I need the energy, from where I get the energy? I need whatever I'm eating is the food. Let's example carbohydrate. It has to be from the glucose. Okay, from complex I convert it into the simpler one, that is glucose. Yes or no? Now this glucose undergo the oxidation. Glucose को क्या करना है? Oxidation में जाना है. So what you will do in that case? Glucose is oxidized to give the energy. When you heat something, energy will be released in our body. That is, oxidation of this material, that is glucose, leads to the generation of energy. The function of mitochondria is called as, you can change according to you. Okay, just skip. Okay, what is mitochondria? Powerhouse of cell. It look like this. Okay, that generated the ATP. So what is ATP? Adenosine triphosphate. Don't worry, next time onwards we have a digital board, so we can see you the image and all. Okay, it takes time, but you can find it. Okay, now the function of mitochondria, what is that? Powerhouse of cell, the one which is giving the energy to hold the body. That is called mitochondria, powerhouse of cell. Now let's move to the part next one. Blood and muscles are both examples of the tissue found in the body. On the basis of the function they perform, we can think different types of animal tissue such as epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue, nervous tissue. Blood is a type of connective tissue. So what are the types of tissues in the body? Can is that first is what epithelial. What is epi? Epi means above. The first one you're going to study about the epithelial tissue. So let's start with the epithelial tissues. Okay. So what are the epithelial tissues? Let's focus on here. So when you talk about the epithelial, okay, the covering of the protective tissue in the animal body are called the epithelial tissue. So can I say that on my skin, the first layer is the epithelial tissue. Epi means above. Thelial means layer. Above the layer, what is the tissue? Epithelial tissue. Epithelial. So first tissue, we are going to talk about the epithelial. See, in animal tissue, the layers are different as compared to the plant tissue because plants are autotrophic. They don't need that much things for protection purpose. But in animal, we are locomotile and we are not able to make our food by ourselves. So we need some different kind of tissue. The first tissue is what? Epithelial tissue. Please underline the first line. That is the important one. The covering or protective tissue in the animal is called a epithelial tissue. That is important thing. Then epithelial covers most organ and cavities within the body. Epithelial covers most the what? Most the cavities, organs and cavity. Can anybody tell me what is organs and cavities? What is organs and cavities? In stomach, when you talk about, there are some cells, secretory cells will be like goblet cell will be there. So they responsible for giving the enzymes. So the one who the epithelial tissue which develops into the secretion tissue, it's called a advantage of epithelial tissue. Okay. Okay. So also form the barrier or keep different body tissue systems different. The skin, the lining of the mouth, the lining of the blood vessel, lung alveoli, and kidney tubules are made of the epithelial tissue. So where you can find epithelial tissue? Mostly the skin. What is that? Mostly the skin. That is more important. The skin is first. Then mouth lining. Can you read the next one? What is written? Blood vessels, lung alveoli, blood vessels, then lung alveoli. What is alveoli? Anybody know what is alveoli? And kidney tubules. Kidney tubules. Now, what is this? Okay, I will tell you. Tell me one thing. Epithelial tissues. When you talk about the epithelial tissue, what is the first point of study over here? When you talk about the epithelial tissue, what is the first point? Tell me. It's a first layer tissue. It's a what? First layer tissue. Okay. So, in case of mouth, in case of blood vessels are what? Very minute. So they need an exchange of gases. So if we talk about layer should be very minute, porous layer should be there. Yes or no? Perforation. What is perforation? Perforation means what? If this is a tissue, then this should have a perforation. A small opening should be there. To exchange of gases, exchange of food will be very easy. Then in case of lung of alveoli, if you talk about the alveoli, for example, what going to happen? Here are blood vessels are there, right? Alveoli lungs part. So in what is the function of lung? Exchange of gases. So when I talk about this, what is the first point in your mind when you talk about this? This has to be exchange should be there. So we need a thin layer. We need a thin layer. So we need a thin layer. For that purpose, what going to happen? Exchange of gases should be there properly, right? So thin layer, only epithelial tissues are there because the first lining tissue is there. Okay, that is the first lining tissue is there. So epithelial tissue cells are tightly packed and form a continuous sheet. So what is the function? They form a continuous sheet. They form continuous sheet. They form a continuous sheet. They are only have only small amount of cementing material between them and almost to have intracellular spaces. Now, this is very important. If you have epithelial tissues, now muscles are there. Okay, sorry. I have a skeleton. Everybody has skeleton. On skeleton, the muscles are just glued up with the help of what? Some tissue has to be there. Function should be there. So this is the epithelial tissue has a material. Which material? Cementing material between them and almost no intracellular space. That means if I draw the cells, they are very packly arranged. Very packly arranged. Packly arranged. This point is clear. They are very packly arranged. The moment I say they are packly arranged means what? There is no intracellular spaces. Okay, they are very crowded. There is no space. Which space is not there? Intracellular. Okay, that is written over there. Now, entering or leaving the body must cross at least one layer of the epithelium. Means what? In case of alveoli, we know that it's a very thin layer. So if the oxygen wants to come from blood to here, they has to cross. They has to cross which layer? Epithelial cell. So all the cell lining is or sheet is made up of the epithelial cell. As a result, the permeability of the cell of various epithelia play an important role on regulating the exchange of material between the body and the external environment. What do you mean by this? Please understand that the permeability. What is the permeability? So epithelial cell is responsible for permeability. What is permeability here? Permeability. See, this term is very, very important. When you talk about permeability, that means this cell is responsible. This cell is responsible for exchange of the gases, exchange of the glucose, exchange of some enzyme, exchange of some hormones. Yes or no? So everything has to be transferred. This is a one room is one compartment. I have to go out. What's going to happen? I have to open the door, close the door. So can I say door is act like a media over here, communicating channel between here. Yeah? But there is a one layer. I have to transfer it. That is, if you want to go out, that is the only way you have to cross that way, that this door is there. So epithelial cell are like that. If whatever the exchange of gases or everything is there, only epithelial cells are responsible for it. Okay. Now it also between the different parts of the body, regardless of the type of all epithelium usually separated from the underlying tissue and by extra cellular fibrous basement membrane. Okay. I'm going to show you the PPT. Don't worry. Just I'm going to read some, you know my method. Okay. I'm just going to tell you something and then we'll move to the next class. I'm going to show you the PPT and important notes will be there. Okay. So let's go. Now, different epithelial cells are there. What is the function of different epithelial cells? First is squamous. Can you see that squamous over there in your book? Okay. Squamous epithelium is there. Then there is a stratified squamous is there. Then there is a colloidal is there. Then there is a different types of epithelial tissues are there. Okay. So we have to study all the things over here. Okay. So just give me 1 minute. I will start with you only. Okay. Now we're going to talk about the epithelium types. Okay. That the first is squamous epithelium. First is what? Squamous. The first one is called as a squamous Okay, first is called the squamous epithelium. Now, in case of squamous, you can see the diagram as well, right? Cells are flattened. Cells are what? Flattened. Are you ready with this, everyone? Okay. In squamous epithelium, cells are flattened. What do you mean by cells are flattened? Cells are flattened. Now, tell me one thing. If the cells are very thin, they are like this, layers are there, okay? So, it is very easy for transportation. You can easily cross the things. So squamous epithelium are the features have a cells are very flattened and thin. Flattened and thin. Okay, very thin structure are there. They are also called as the pavements or the pavements. They are also called a pavements. What is pavements? You must have seen on the roadside, these structures are like this. Okay. On the street, you must aware about that. The stone-like structures are there when you walking on the street. There are pavements are there. What is pavements? A walking area for the you can the roadside is there a little bit, the area for only for walking of the people is there. On that you can see the structure like this. Okay, they are arranged very close to each other, so they are like a squamous epithelium. So it's called as a pavements also. It's called as a pavements also. Okay, now cells are like tile like structure, polygonal and a compactly arranged. Cells are what? Tile like structure. Cells are like tile like structure. What is tile like structure? What is tile like structure? When the building construction is there in a bathroom or in a hall, the tiles are there. If I draw a very nice diagram of a picture and I printed on the tiles, so I have to cover all tiles to be properly arranged. So these are the tile like structure. Can you see that tiles are very thin? Not that much thin, but they are thin. Yes or no? Yes. So these are very compactly arranged. Compactly arranged. So these are the features of the squamous epithelium. Squamous epithelium are flattened and thin. It's called the pavements. If they are very flattened and thin, they are responsible for the transportation and exchange of gases. The cells are like tile-like structure, compactly arranged. They are very compactly arranged. Now, what do you think? Where you get this all the things in case of squamous? They found in the blood vessel, heart, lymph vessel. They found in the blood vessel. They found in the blood vessels, lymph vessels. Okay, found in a blood vessel, lymph vessel, then skin and inner lining of mouth. Skin everywhere almost. Skin, inner lining of mouth. Why inner lining of mouth? Chewing should be proper or the enzyme should be mixed properly, right? They are protective in nature. They are what? Protective in nature. Or abdominal, abdopelvic cavities. Okay, mesothelium. They found in a mesothelium. Mesothelium. What is the mesothelium? Mesothelium is nothing but the cavities. Where are the cavities are there? Abdominopelvic cavities. Abdominal pelvic cavity. That's mesothelium. Okay, just remember this. They are protective in nature. They are protective. Why they are protective in nature? Tell me. Anybody? I've been trying my best to keep this chapter happy because this chapter is a very theoretical. Okay, so maybe you finding boring, but we have to study this. Now, why this is a protective in nature? Can anybody tell me why it's called protective in nature? Because it's come in a first lining. Skin is a first layer. Now, skin is also called a larger organ. Yes or no? Because its first function is to protect. So in this case, majority of the skin, like blood vessel on the skin, which layer is there? Squamous epithelium is there. So they are protective in nature. So if the question asks, what are the epithelial tissues which are responsible for the protective layer or protective nature? So what is the answer? Squamous epithelium as they found on the skin lining and the first layer. That's why it's called as a protective in nature. Okay. Now, next one is a cuboidal epithelium. Next one is what? Cuboidal. What is cuboidal? Can anybody tell me what is cuboidal? Cube-like structure. What is a cube? See, squamous epithelium-like cells are very like this. Okay. But when you cuboidal-like structures are this. They have a nucleus, or cube-like structures are this. Okay. Now, Cells are short, cube-like, and around the nucleus. So nucleus is what? Round. They are very short cell, cube-like structure, cube-like structure. And what is the basic thing? Round nucleus. The nucleus is what? They have a round nucleus. Please write this. Nucleus is round. That means mature, fully mature. Okay. In this case. Now, what is a cube? Cube-like structures are there. So that means they have a little bit amount of secretion, or we can say they have a space inside. In case of squamous, they are very thin and flattened, so they don't have that much space. But in case of cuboidal, they must have a space over there. Yes or no? Are you agree with this? They must have a space over there. So small ducts of glands like pancreas, kidneys, and salivary glands. Pancreas, salivary glands, and kidney. Why they are found over here? Anybody know? In case of small ducts. Why? चलो सोचो सोचो इसको. Tell me one thing. Pancreas is the one who gives the bile. Okay. Or we can say the secretion inside the digestion. Salivary amylase is there. Salivary amylase is there. That has to be secretion. Kidney nephron is there. They also secrete something. So if there is a space, they act like a secretory cell. They act like a secretory cell. They can secrete something. So pancreas, salivary, kidneys are having the small ducts which are responsible for secretion something. So whenever you find something, there are secretory cells are there. You have to write a cuboidal cells. Okay. Yes. Now they may secrete in nature. Absorption and excretion are also function of this tissue. They are what? Mostly secretory cells. Secretory cells. Why it's called secretory cells? Because the space is much more rather than squamous epithelium as compared to the squamous, and they can act like a secretory cells. Okay. Absorption and excretion also functions. Absorption and excretion is also function in that. Okay. So we'll study that. Now columnar epithelium. The next one is columnar epithelium. Just right here. Third one is columnar epithelium. Okay, columnar. Now, cuboidal and columnar. What is columnar? Pillar-like structure. What is columnar? Pillar-like structure. And of the columnar, they are pillar. So they are a little bit like this. These are the cube-like structure. These are pillar-like structure. Pillar structure. Okay, these are the pillar structures. Or we can say column-like structure. Nucleus is towards the base. Wherever you find a nucleus towards the base, here at the center, in the case of cuboidal, the nucleus is found at center because secretion has to be from the center. But in case of columnar, their nucleus is at the base. Nucleus is what? At the base. So right there, nuclear is at base. Nucleus is at base. Okay, pillar-like structure or column-like structure. Okay, it's visible from there. Yeah, that's great. We're about to finish. Don't worry. The last one. Okay. They found in a lining of alimentary canal. Alimentary canal. What is alimentary canal? I told you. I mean, Meenakshi, you must aware about that. What is alimentary canal? You can sit here if you want. Like, no. Okay. What is alimentary canal? GIT tract. GIT, that is gastrointestinal tract, is also called as an alimentary canal. Okay. Stomach and the small intestine. It's found in a stomach and small intestine. Stomach and the small intestine. They're also secretory in nature. Secretory in nature. Okay, they're secretory in nature. So squamous, cuboidal, columnar. In case of squamous, thin-like structure. So they are mostly for the mesothelium, blood vessels, lymph, where the exchange of gases and the materials takes place. Cuboidal are the cube-like structure having the round nucleus at the center. Especially secretory function is going to happen. And columnar, pillar-like structure, column-like structure, they found in the alimentary canal, stomach, and small intestine, and mostly in secretory in nature. If you draw this, I mean, if you're going to learn this, it will be better rather than having the reading of a book. In a book, all paragraph are there, right? That paragraph I converted into the tabular form. So this will be there. Again, I'm saying you find this animal tissue chapter is little boring, but we have to study. Okay, so I'm trying my best to make you the things. Okay, chalo. Have you written this? Everything? Okay. Now tell me one thing. From the squamous to the columnar, what is happening? Size is increasing. In squamous, nucleus is not that much appeared. But in cuboidal, secretion has to be the nucleus is there. In columnar, nucleus is at the base. Okay. So we have studied this up till now. Now let's move to the next part. Okay, where is the duster? Okay, here. Okay, now let's move to the next part. Okay, I'm just doing this squamous. I get a space for this then to write. Okay, now let's move to the ciliated. What is cilia? Anybody knows what is cilia? Cilia. Anybody know? Fourth, we are talking about the ciliated. So this modified version of this ciliated columnar. Okay, ciliated columnar means what? Column-like structures are there, nucleus at the base, but this has a hair-like projection. That's called the cilia. The cells have a cell on their cilia on their apices. Cilia present on apices. What is apices? On the above side. At the base, there is a base nucleus is present. At the above, this is cilia are present. Hair-like projections are there. Now tell me one thing from for where you understand that it will be there. Now tell me one thing. If I'm taking a breath, something is there creating a problem in my respiratory tract. I can't take my hand and like this, I can remove. I can't do that, right? This is unbelievable thing. So there are ciliated cells who are giving the upper trunk movement. Are you getting my point? For suppose this is my area. Okay, this is the throat area. Okay, and which cells are there mostly? Ciliated columnar. If you find this is ciliated columnar cells are there. This is cilia is there. So this cilia is something is itching. So this cilia will do what? Upper movement. Whatever there, microbes or something is there, they will move upward side. So upward movement can be function of the ciliated columnar. So see, columnar are the one who are a secretory. But once they get a hair-like projection like cilia, they are called a ciliated columnar now. Are you getting my point? Yes. So where you find that they help in a movement of material by a ciliary movement. They helps via ciliary movement. Upward movement is happening. Okay. Second, present in a oviduct respiratory passage. They present in a respiratory passage and oviduct. Oviduct is also called as a fallopian tube. Fallopian tube. I will tell you. Just pay attention. See, they have a cilia. Yes or no? So they're doing the upper movement, right? So suppose this is a cilia. They will do move like this and this. So they go upper side movement will be there. Are you getting my point? Yes, are you getting my point over here? Now, what is oviduct in a female reproductive tract? Ova should be there. Please pay attention here. You can write afterward. Please pay attention. Oviduct. What is oviduct? I will tell you. Sperm has to enter into the female body. Okay, yes or no? And the egg is from the female body. Now we know that zygote is going to form a combination of what? Male gamete and the female gamete. Are you aware about this? Are you aware about this? Male gamete is a sperm. Female gamete is a ova. So ova has to be come out from the antrum, a cell name as. Sperm is going to enter into the female body and it's going in a oviduct. What is oviduct? A fallopian tube. Okay. As per your class, I'm giving this information. Okay. Here is a ova is going to form. The ova has to be come out. Okay. ova has to be come out in this tube. This tube is called fallopian tube. Fallopian tube. This structure is female reproductive system. Okay, this structure is female reproductive structure. Okay, and here is the mother womb will be there. Okay, so this part I'm talking about. So ova has to become outside. To come outside, this is there. Cilia are there to make sure the ova is transferring in a fallopian tube, and the sperm will come and the fusion will be done. So fallopian tube is also called the area of fertilization. Area of fertilization. Area of fertilization. So whenever there is a ciliary movement, there will be a ciliated columnar epithelium is there. This point is very clear. Have you written this? Please write this in your book. Now, fifth one is a glandular columnar epithelium. See, columnar epithelium, when they have a cilia, it's called ciliated. Okay. Now we have a glandular columnar epithelium. Okay. So see, glandular means what? Glands should be there. Yes or no? Glands are there. Now there is the entry of glands. So these cells are long, pillar-like, and a store for a secretion. They are long, pillar-like structure for secretion. More secretion can be done with the glandular columnar cell. See, they are glandular. See, this is a cell. They have a gland-like structure here. Okay. So they can secretion. They can secretion from this cell. Okay. All types of exocrine gland. They exclusively found in a exocrine. What is exocrine? Exo means outside. Crine means to give something into the blood. So exocrine gland, like pituitary gland. Example is what? Pituitary gland. That is endocrine. Okay. So what is exocrine gland? Those are ductless gland. That is directly give hormone or enzyme into the blood. That's called exocrine system or exocrine gland. Okay. Exocrine gland. What is ductless? For example, I want a growth hormone. Body wants a growth hormone. So growth hormone has to be secreted in the blood vessel? No. Where? Please pay attention. If our body wants a growth hormone, it should be equally distributed all over the body. So it has to be in a blood vessel, not in a blood vessel, in the blood, because blood is going everywhere. So exocrine, outside is going to happen. Okay, so exocrine glands are there. Okay, and the last one, stratified epithelium. A stratified. Sixth one is what? A stratified epithelium. What is stratified? The cells are present in a layers. Cells present in layers. Yes. Like this. They will be in layers. Okay. Layers will be there. To form a cake. If you want to make a cake, the cream has to be in layers. Cream directly laga lete kya nahi na? We have to give the layers of the cream. The upper layer cells do not divide. Means the upper layer cell do not divide. Means what? They lose the ability to divide the upper layer. What is upper layer? If we talk about the skin, skin is a dead cell. Yes or no? The upper layer is a dead. If you just have a cut or something, you get a pinkish layer. That is your exact skin. But the above layer of the skin, which you're seeing right now, it's a dead one. So that is not multiplying. The cell beneath it, they're multiplying. So cell at the above, they are do not divide. Do not divide. They lose the ability to divide. Okay, the one who beneath the layers, they are only dividing. Non-keratinized stratified epithelia. Non-keratinized. What is non-keratin? What is location? What is keratin? Mostly the hair. Nails and hairs are made of the keratin, which is continuously growing, but that is a dead one. Yes or no? Dead one means this is not live one, but they require. So they are made up of keratin. Non-keratinized stratified epithelia are found in a conjunctiva of eyes. Where they found? Conjunctiva of eyes. What is conjunctiva of eyes? Tell me. We are getting what? Water from the eyes? Yes or no? So there is a disease or disease named as conjunctiva of eyes. eyes become swollen, right? Happens na? This is infection. Eye infection is called conjunctiva of eyes. So these conjunctiva eyes are made up of the stratified muscle. Cell present in the layers. They are in the layers. They get a swollen in that. So that will be there. Conjunctiva eyes, they are found, and they are found in the vagina. Okay, female vagina. These layers are found. Please write this quickly. Okay. So we talk about the columnar, ciliated, then glandular, and then stratified cells. Okay, stratified cells we have talked about. Okay, now we talk about the connective tissue. What is connective tissue? Who connects the things? Connective tissue is nothing but what? Who connects the things? Like blood. Blood connects all the organs. So can I talk about blood is a major connective tissue? Yes. What is connective tissue? Who connects the other tissue for the transportation, for the exchange of something. So blood is a type of connective tissue. Why would it be called connective tissue? Because what is a clue? Provided in the introduction only. What they talk about introduction? That the tissue which connects all the body parts for the exchange of gases, for the nutrition exchange, for taking out the waste material, it's called the connective tissue. And the blood is a major type of connective tissue. So the cells of connective tissue are loosely spaced and embedded in an intracellular matrix. What is this? In case of blood, blood is a liquid one. Inside the blood, there is a RBC, red blood cell. Coloration of the blood is totally depend on that. Yes or no? So when you talk about the blood, okay, the blood is a major connective tissue. Blood contains RBC, which is red color. So coloration of blood is responsible for that. RBCs are what? Colorless one? Not colorless, no. What is the color? Correct. So red one is there. So this is RBCs there. Second, there are WBCs are there for fight. Fight against bacteria or microbes. Harmful microbes are there. Harmful microbes are called as if the bacteria or microbes are harmful. Harmful microbes are called as pathogen. क्या बोलते हैं उनको? Pathogen. Please make a note of this. Okay. So fight against the microbes, or we can say simply pathogens. Then apart from the WBC, there are thrombocytes. Thrombocytes are also called as the platelets. Platelets. Responsible for clotting of blood. Clotting of blood. Okay, clotting of blood. RBC, WBC, platelets. Okay, these are the major components of the blood. Along with RBC is responsible for exchange of O2 and CO2 gases. Right. Apart from this, this is second. The first one contains the plasma. So blood is composed of the plasma and these things. So plasma is nothing but it will be contain albumin, all the things will be there. Okay. Example, albumin is there, proteins are there, other proteins are there. Okay. So blood is composed of this many things. Okay. Have you talk about this? Okay. So these are your notes. Okay. So now what is the thing? How blood is act like a connective tissue? How blood is act like connective tissue here? Because it's a loosely packed. If they're loosely packed, exchange of gases can be taken place. The waste material also take into the blood. Okay. So they are loosely packed. So what is the answer? They are loosely packed will be the answer. The cells of connective tissue are a loosely spaced and embedded in an intracellular matrix. What is matrix? If you talk about the blood, these cells are there. Okay. And matrix means what? Blood, once you get exposure to the air, it get clot. It become a solid because of the matrix present in there. Okay. Because of the platelets present are there. The matrix be jelly-like. Blood is like jelly-like structure. Okay. Fluid, dense, or rigid. The nature of a matrix differs in a concordance with the function of the particular connective tissue. Means what? If the blood is there in the heart, it should be not that much concentrated. Concentrated means what? Not should be that viscous. Otherwise, heart will have a load of that to pump it. Yes or no? So it should not be that much that much solid. It should be a proper jelly-like structures is there. Okay, so that's the point we have covered here. Now, blood has a fluid liquid matrix called a plasma. See, I told you, plasma. Plasma is also called fluid matrix. It's also called a fluid matrix. Why it's called fluid matrix? Because inside the plasma, what is the major constituent of the blood? Water and plasma. So inside the plasma, these are present. Okay, the materials are present. So in your book, you can see that the plasma in which red blood cells, white blood cells, suspended. The plasma contains protein, salt, and hormones. So plasma contains albumin, protein, salt. Okay, all are there in plasma. Bone is another example of connective tissue. How can you talk about bone is a connective tissue? Can anybody tell me how the bone is connective tissue? Tell me. Yes. Tell me how the bone is called as a connective tissue. Can you see the diagram? Yes. This question can be asked. Why bone is called a connective tissue? Bone is another example of connective tissue. It is a forms of framework that supports the body. If you see the bones, look at here. If you see the bones, I'm going to show you the images. Okay, just a little bit time. If you see the bones, bone is not that much calcium deposited. They are haloid, or they can, what we can say, they have a air spaces in between. They are not fully filled with the material. They have air spaces between. If what happen if the fully spaces, if you I get this jug, bone can be cracked easily. So they have a air spaces. Like lotus is floating on the water because it has a aeroerenchyma cells are there because air spaces are there. Similarly, we have a very minute porous like structure in the bones. Okay. And it forms a framework that supports the body. It also anchors the muscles and supports the main organs of the body. Yes or no? Skeletal muscles are there. Skeletal is there. Skeletal is made up of the bones mostly, and on the bone the other muscles are glued up. Yes or no? So it is a strong and non-flexible tissue. Which is strong and non-flexible tissue? Bone. So but bone can be moved like this. These are the joints, not a, it's a form of bone only, but they are joined, that's why we can move it. It is a strong and non-flexible tissue. Bone cells are embedded in the hard matrix that composed of the calcium and phosphorus. So bone are formed by the strong matrix. What is matrix? What is matrix? Of fiber-like structures are there. Made up of what? Calcium and majority phosphorus. Majority is what? Calcium and the phosphorus. Okay, it is made up of this. Two bones can be connected to each other by the another type of connective tissue called a ligament. If the two bones are joining, two bones connected via ligaments. Via ligaments. So ligament, what is the function of ligaments? To connect the two bones. If you're writing this, please write it properly because this is important. Two bones can be connected to each other by the another type of connective tissue that is called ligaments. This tissue is very elastic. It has a considerable strength. Ligaments contain very little matrix and connects the bones with the bones. So can I say that these are flexible, or we can say that elastic? Ligaments are elastic. Okay. Why elastic? That's why, see, look at here. This bone and this bone are joined with the ligaments. Okay. This bone and this bone are joined with the ligaments. So if it is not smooth or elastic, we can't move it properly. Otherwise, bone and bone friction will be there. A lot of pain will be there. But it is not there right now because of ligaments. Okay. Now, another type of connective tissue is cartilage. Now, we have just done this. Okay. Now we are moving to the cartilage. What is cartilage? A bone-like structure with flexibility. Example, your ear. Example, your ear and nose are made up of cartilage. Can you feel a bone over here? No, but they are flexible, right? So the widely spaced cells, the solid matrix is composed of the proteins and sugar. In cartilage, the matrix which is there, it is made up of a protein and sugar. And there lot of flexibility is there. Lot of flexibility. In case of ligaments, elastic. In case of cartilage, flexibility is there. Cartilage is bone. Okay, cartilage smoothens the bone surface at the joint, also present in the nose, ear, trachea, and larynx. It is present in the what? Ear, nose, and trachea. Ear, nose, trachea is present. So cartilage is a form of flexibility found in the. We can fold the cartilage of the ears, but we cannot fold the bones in our arms. Can we fold it? But can we fold this one, this part? Can we fold this? Why? Because of the cartilage. Now, areolar connective tissue is found between the skin and muscles, around the blood vessels and the nerve, and is bone marrow. What is bone marrow? What is the bone marrow? From where the calcium deposition is takes place. Inside the bone, there is a bone marrow. So to write this notes, okay. Areolar connective tissue. Can you read that? I mean, like I'm reading it, just look at that. Areolar connective tissue is found between the skin and muscle. In the skin and muscles, there are air spaces. That's called areolar connective tissue. Okay. It fills the space inside the organ, support the internal organ, and helps in the repair of the tissue. Please, that is important one. Okay. That is a important one. Okay, now we're going to talk about the muscles. Okay, the muscles are responsible for contraction, and relaxation. Okay, especially muscles are included in the movement. So there are three types of muscles like skeletal, cardiac, and a visceral, or also called a smooth muscle. In stomach, we talk about the smooth muscle. We talk about that, right? Now let's talk about the first. Your first is skeletal muscle. Okay, skeletal type. Type in written type is what? First is skeletal muscle. So when you talk about a skeletal muscle, it look like this muscle. See, like this, and the nucleus are here like this. So this is a skeletal muscle. Now, where is the location? Tell me, where will be the location of skeletal muscle? Obviously, inside the skeleton will be there. So it is found in a skeleton. Very good. Now, the function. What is the function of skeletal muscle? What will be the function? Movement. First is what? Movement. Movement is very important function. Okay. Movement, heat, and posture. Movement, heat, and posture is the important thing over here. Now, appearance. What is the appearance? How they look like? How they look like? What will be the appearance? Tell me. Appearance. Striated, multinucleated. Can you see this? Striated means what? A straw-like structure or a straight line structure. So they are striated, and nucleus. How many nucleus are there? So many. So they are striated. Striated means this. Striated means like this. Okay, you can draw this. This is called striated. Striations are there. Linings are there. Striated and a multinucleated. They are what? Why they multinucleated? Because the function is like that. Okay, multinucleated, and the fibers parallel. Fibers parallel. Nucleus are eccentric. What is eccentric? Tell me one thing. See, I'm just talking about this. See, what is this? These are the striations. Along the striation, there is a nucleus. Yes or no? So they are eccentric. They are what? Eccentric. They are eccentric. And now, when you talk about eccentric, that is a control. What is the control? What is the control? Voluntary or involuntary? They are voluntary. What is voluntary? What is voluntary muscle? According to your wish, you can give the command to they are voluntary. Heart muscles are not voluntary. You can't make heart to stop, right? Yes, so that's the thing. So these are the skeletal muscle. Now let's go to the cardiac muscle. Next, what is a cardiac muscle? Okay, when you talk about the cardiac, they look like this. So there are many nucleus are present like this. Okay, these are the cardiac muscles present where mostly in a heart. Definitely. What is the function? pump blood. But how? Continuously. Continuously they have pumped the blood. Okay. Now tell me one thing. They are striated, but having only one nucleus with one nucleus. They don't, they are not multinucleus like that. And they are involuntary. Involuntary. Okay. They are involuntary. They are involuntary. So that was about the cardiac muscle. Okay. The third is smooth muscle. Smooth, or also called a visceral. It's also called a visceral. Okay, just write it. I will talk later then. Okay, I will give you time to write. Don't worry. Now, smooth muscle and visceral, they found where? In a GI tract. What is GI tract? Can anybody tell me? Gastro, and all over the gastrointestinal tract, which muscle is found? Smooth muscle. Which movement he has to do? Yes, Utkarsh, tell me. Which movement he has to do? Peristaltic movement. That is GI tract, which is responsible. Smooth muscles are responsible. In case of eyes, blood vessel is also present. Okay, is also present in that. Now, what is the movement I talk about? Smooth muscles are responsible for peristaltic movement. Peristaltic movement. Okay, peristaltic movement. Then blood pressure, pupil, blood pressure is also maintained by this. Then pupil. What is pupil? Eye pupil. The movement of the pupil is responsible with this. Okay. No striation. No striation. This is a smooth muscle. So what is will be the structure? This is a smooth muscle. Okay. This is a smooth muscle structure. Okay. No striations there, and center nucleus. Center nucleus is present. And they are involuntary. They are involuntary. So we have talked about the skeletal muscle, which are found on a skeleton, movement of the heat and postures. Okay. Now, appearance, they are striated. What is striated? Striations are there. Okay. Then cardiac also striations are there. But in case of smooth muscle, no striations are found. There are no striation and one nucleus and then involuntary. So which is a voluntary muscle? Only, or skeletal muscle is a voluntary one. Okay. Please pay attention over here. Only voluntary is a pure skeletal muscle. Okay. I'm giving you time. Just write it. Okay. Now we're going to talk about the nerve tissue. Okay, what is nerve or nervous system? Now, when you talk about the nervous system, the functional funda unit system is like, what is this called as? I'm drawing something in front of you. Okay, I want you to tell me. What I'm drawing, can anybody guess it? Which cell I'm drawing? Nerve cell. Very good. I'm drawing a nerve cell. Very good. Okay, so this is called a dendrites. It's called a dendrites. The nerve cell is responsible for the transmission of impulse. What is impulse? A electrical signal. Impulse is nothing but what? Electrical signal. These are the dendrites. This is also called as a cell body. Inside here is the cytoplasm. Cytoplasm will be there inside it. This is axonal end. This is called axonal ends. Okay. And this is the myelin sheath. Myelin sheath is there. What is that myelin sheath? Tell me one thing. If the impulse has to be transported, it should not go here and there. It should not go spread. Like electrical wires have a plastic coating. Nerve cell has a myelin sheath, which prevent the spreading over of impulses that can directly go. Okay. This point is clear? Okay. So nerve ending, cell body, dendrites, we talk about that. Okay. Now, let's talk about this nerve cell. Now, tell me one thing. There are number of nerve cell in the body. There are number of nerve cell in the body. So, what is happening in this case? Suppose this is one neuron wants to communicate with another neuron. So, this, can you see this is the axonal end? Yes or no? That is the axonal end. What is happening here? The dendrites of another neurons are come together here. Okay. The dendrites of other neurons comes here. Now, can I talk between, there is a gap between this first neuron and the second neuron. They transmit the impulse. They want to transmit the impulse. Now, the gap in between two neurons is called synapse. It's called the synapse. So this is called a synapse. So what is a synapse? I'm just giving you that insight. This is called the synapse. What is the synapse? Can anybody tell me what is the synapse? It is a gap between two neurons. It's gap between two neurons. And it's a gap between whom to whom? Axonal end, axonal end of first neuron and and between dendrites of second neuron. Okay, that is the thing. So gap between what? Axonal end. Axonal end. This is the axonal end of the primary one. This is dendrites, the starting of the secondary thing, right? So synapse is the gap between the neurons, which is axonal end of the first neuron and the dendrites of the second neuron. And in the synapse, there are neurotransmitters. What is a neurotransmitter? If there is a gap, that gap has to be filled by some enzymes, not enzymes, some neurotransmitter. Enzyme is a wrong word. I'm so sorry. Where should be there? A neurotransmitter. Neurotransmitter are responsible for connecting the synapse. So one axonal end going to secrete neurotransmitters such as ACH, acetylcholine, nicotine kind of thing, right? They will secrete and the gap will be filled and the information can be transmitted further. This point is clear? Very good. This point is very good. Okay, now let's move to the characteristics. Now, what are the characteristics we have just understood? The communication between the two neurons is why neurotransmitter and why we have to do this? Because the impulse should be transmitted. So if I'm talking about characteristic, if I'm talking about the characteristics of the nervous tissue, characteristics of nervous tissues. Okay, so first most one, what is that? Nervous tissue make up the CNS and the PNS of the nervous system. It makes CNS and PNS. What is PNS? CNS stand for central nervous system. PNS stand for, see, CNS is nothing but your central nervous system. Include brain plus your spinal cord. Okay, that is central nervous system. PNS is your peripheral nervous system. What is peripheral nervous system? Your hair, your end of the fingers, everywhere. This is called peripheral nervous system. Okay. So first characteristics include the first is it convert the PCNS and the PNS will be there. It contains two distinct cells. Nervous glia cells. It consists of the dendrite, cell body, axon, and a nerve entities. It consists of, right? It consists of cell body, dendrites, and the end. What are the end called as? Axonal end. Axonal ends. These are the characteristics we are writing. Neurons secrete a chemical neurotransmitter which are responsible for stimulating other neurons as a result of stimuli. What is this? They secrete neurotransmitter. Neurotransmitter. Example ACH in response to stimuli. In response to stimuli. If there is a, suppose now tell me one thing, mosquito is biting on this hand. What I will do? I will shake this hand, right? So one neuron is responsible for giving information to my brain. One neuron, that is motor neuron, giving the response to the muscle to do something. Okay. So according to the stimuli, it's happening. Okay. Now, presence of specialized axonal terminal is called synapses. Okay. Axonal terminal is called axonal terminal is called a synapse. What is a synapses? A gap between, you have written earlier, right? A gap between the one neuron axonal end and one neuron's dendrites will be there. Okay. Nerve cells live long, cannot divide and replaced. Nerve cells are live long, cannot divide. Nerve cells live long, but cannot divide and non-replaceable. Non-replaceable. Okay. They live. The moment we take a birth, they are there in the body. And the moment we are growing, they are also growing. They are longer living, but they can't divide. They can't multiply. And they are not replaced. So the person who has a paralysis attack, the one side is not working. Because of what? The neurons are not working of the one side. So now it's problematic. Other cells can divide, okay, but neuron cells are not divisible and non-replaceable. So once the paralysis attack is there, the neurons is not working over there. Okay, please write this. Now we're going to talk about the function of nervous tissue. These are the characteristics. Now we're going to talk about the functions. When you talk about the function, that means first, neurons generate and carry out the nerve impulse. Yes or no? You can write if you want. Neuron generate what? Function of neurons we are going to talk about. Okay. Characteristic we just finished. So what is the first function of a nervous tissue? They generate and carry the impulse. Okay. They generate and carry the impulse. You can write in a book quickly. First function of nervous tissue. First, they generate and carries impulse. Okay, they generate and carry the impulse. They produce the electrical signal that are transmitted across the distance. What is impulse? Impulse is nothing but what? A electrical signal. Impulse is nothing but what? Electrical signal that transmitted across the distance. Okay, via chemical substance that is called neurotransmitter, the gaps. Okay, now then the second function of a nervous tissue is what? Respond to stimuli. What is stimuli? A sudden and quick response to the environment. Okay, then third, it carries communication. What is communication between the neurons? The chemical should be there, right? Communication and integration. What is integration? What is integration? Tell me. If I get a signal from the nervous system, okay, now I have to integrate it. I get communication that something is wrong with on my hand, something is problem on my body. I get a sense over there, impulse. Now I'm going to react. So integration. I have to do react slowly. I have to react very fastly. I have to react very quickly, impulsively. That is integration. Okay. Now provides the electrical insulations to the nerve cell and removes the debris. It provides the electrical insulator. It provide, don't write this. It's provide the electrical insulation. Why electrical insulation? You must have talked about the myelin sheath is covering on the axonal part. So they prevent that prevents what? Spreading out of the electrical signal. What happens if the electrical signal is getting spread out like this? Some people have like tendency to do this, tremors. Like after they are like standing, but still can they do that? Some people have a tendency to do like this. They are not doing by purpose, by intention. There nervous system or particular having that system is not working properly. That means myelin sheath is not properly. So signals are diffuse. Signals are not giving properly. Yes or no? So that is a problem. Like paralysis attack is what? If you see the epileptic attack or paralysis attack, the nerves are like people are like doing this. Means not control on the muscles. Okay. Now carries message from the other neuron to the cell body. Carries the first one carries, last one carries the message or signal from where to where? Can anybody tell me? From neuron to the cell body. From neuron to the cell body. Why cell body? See, I told you this. Neuron is the first communication, axonal end. And this cell body, dendrites are included. Yes or no? Dendrites. Dendrites are included of a second neuron. Second neuron. And this is first axonal end. Axonal end. Okay. So here we completed the function of the nervous tissues. So we have covered the animal tissue along with the all the parts, right? Okay. So I hope you understood those things.